three Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya all together, please, everybody. Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Meena Mataji, whenever you're ready.
Hare Krishna, chapter 2, verse 25. Avyaktoyam anchintyoyam avikaryoyam tasmadevam viditvenam nanusochantimarhasi.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचतुमर्हसि.
If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament. O mighty armed,
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो जातर्षि हि ध्रुवो मृत्युध्रुवं जन्ममृत्युश्च तस्माद् अर्पयेथे न त्वं शोचतुमर्हसि.
one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तम् अद्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनित्यनानि वा तत्रं का परिदेवना.
All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
Can you put a little bit down? Sorry, Krishna. आश्चर्य पश्यन्ति कचिशदेन आश्चर्यवदति तथैव चान्यम् आश्चर्यवचेन मन्ये शृण्वन्ति श्रुत्वात्मीनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
देहि नित्यम् अवधेयं देहि सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचर्तुमर्हसि.
O descendant of Bharat, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
सधर्मयपि चावेक्ष्य न विकल्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्यादियुधं श्रेयो अन्यक्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
यदक्षया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वार अपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रिया पार्थ लभते युद्धमिधर्षम.
O Parth, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
अथ चेत्त्व इमं धर्म्य सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः सर्वधर्मकीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
अकीर्ति चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिं मरणादति दति मरणादतीच्यते.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
भयार्णादुपरन्तं मश्यन्ते त्वां महारथा येषा च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्.
The great generals, who have highly esteemed your name and fame, will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
अवाचवादा अवाचवादाश्चं च बहून्य अविद्वस्यन्ति तवाहिता निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्य ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Your enemies will ascribe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
हतो वा पाप्यसि स्वर्ग जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चय.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभलाभो जयाजयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पाप अवाप्स्यसि.
Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin.
एषा ते विहिता साङ्ख्ये बुद्धियोगे त्विमा शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
नेहाभिकर्मणा सन्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्प्य अपस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
व्यवसा व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा यनन्ताश्च बुद्ध्यो व्यवसायिन्याम्
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched.
Little bit down, Sanskrit, please.
Or do you want the Sanskrit? Sorry.
यमिमा पुष्पिता वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादारता पार्थ ज्ञान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मा कामा आत्मान स्वर्गपरा जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्च गतिप्रतिः
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
भोगेष्वयप्रसक्तानां दया प्रहतचेतसां व्यवसात्मिका बुद्धिः समाद्यो न विद्यते
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
त्रिगुणविषया वेदा निस्त्रिगुण्यो भवार्जुनः निर्वदो नित्यसत्त्वस्तो नियोगक्षेम आत्मवान्
The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
यवानर्थ उदपाने सर्वत्र संप्लुतोदके तवा सर्वेषु वेदेषु प्रामाण्यस्य विजानतः
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
कर्मणेवाधिकारस्ति मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफले हेतु प्रोमा ते सङ्को स्वकर्मणि
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
योग योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्धसिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते.
Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to a success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, thank you.
It's so beautifully read by both of you. Thank you so much. And Meena Mataji, I didn't realize you could read. I didn't realize you read the Sanskrit itself.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Both of you. That's so nice. Thank you so much. Okay, so if everybody can get the chanting beads, please. So I'll just start. So Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Krishna Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Namani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Namani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Namani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Namani. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram. 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya,
Ram.
Nityananda,
Krishna,
Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta, Jai Shri Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta, Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, we cannot hear, no? Hare
Yes,
Krishna, Mataji.
that's why I'm checking, Mataji. I thought my phone is
Okay.
not working.
No, yours is working. I think it's Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Radha Sevika Mataji, Hare Krishna. We are not able to hear you. Mataji, I think you can start Kirtan. I think there is some problem with her.
Oh, okay, Mataji.
I'll message her. I'll maybe call her and find out.
Okay, Mataji. I'll try to sing the Radhe Jai Jai.
You want to share the screen?
No problem, Mataji. I look from my phone.
Would you like anyone to accompany you, Mataji? Follow you?
Um, okay, if anyone is interested, Mataji.
She's okay. Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to join Mataji? Follow Mataji? Hare Krishna devotees?
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
And then-
Meena Mataji, I think, is
No,
happy
no,
to. Oh,
do not
thank you,
hear.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't like. I have to look for it. Which one song? Sorry.
No problem, Mataji. Okay, Hari Bol. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I can do that. No problem. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji, I will list राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते गोकुलतारुणी मण्डलमहिते गोकुलतारुणी मण्डलमहिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते दामोदर राति वर्धन वेसे दामोदर राति वर्धन वेसे हरि निकुष्ट वृंद विपिनेशे हरि निकुष्ट वृंद विपिनेशे राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते वृषभानुदाधि नवससि लेखे वृषभानुदाधि नवससि लेखे ललिता सखी गणा रमिता विसखे ललिता सखी गणा रमिता विसखे राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते करुणा कुरामयी करुणा भरीते करुणा कुरामयी करुणा भरीते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते गोकुलतारुणी मण्डलमहिते गोकुलतारुणी मण्डलमहिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Landani Shara Radha Landani Shara Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokula Nandan Radha Gokula Nandan Sri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman. Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Jagannath. Jayo Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, this song I choose was short.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. But I'm so sad I didn't get a chance to hear it. I just was able to log in. I'm sure that I got the ending of it. So I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. The ending was beautiful. What song did you sing? I didn't get it. Sorry. What did you sing?
Mataji, I sing the Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite.
Oh, I missed it. Oh, I'm sure it was beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji.
Oh,
It
that's
was
such a
really amazing,
beautiful
Mataji.
song.
Very devotional.
That's very short. Maybe you can sing it again.
My voice is that not much good, Mataji.
It's
I just
beautiful. It's devotional. Oh my God, it's beautiful. If you want to sing it again, you're more than welcome to.
okay, Mataji. If you want, I will try.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. Sorry, I just missed it. Sorry, everybody. It's just my internet connection wasn't. It just snapped out.
Okay, Mataji. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Radhe Jaya Madhava Dahite. Damodara Rati Bardana Beshi. Damodara Rati Bardana Besi. Harini Kusta Brindaban Bini Neshe. Harini Krista Brindabipini Neshe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Vrishavanudati Navasasi Lekhe. Vrishavanudati Navasasi Lekhe. Lalita Sakhi Gana Ramita Bisakhe. Lalita Sakhi Gana Ramita Bisakhe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Karuna Kuramai Karuna Bharite. Karuna Kuramai Karuna Bharite. सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते गोकुलतारुणी मंडल महिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry.
Hare Krishna, Gauranga Mataji, that was beautiful. I'm so glad you sang that again. Thank you. I think a few other people just joined as well, so I'm sure they got to hear it as well. Thank you so much, Mataji. That was very beautiful, and it's such a long time since I haven't heard it for a while. So thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we have Usha Mataji is she here. Let me quickly check. Yep, Usha Mataji is there. Usha Mataji, are you ready for Guru Vandana prayer?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay, and would you like someone to sing along with you, or are you happy to do it on your own?
I don't mind, Mataji, if anybody would like to sing it.
Does anyone want to sing the Guru Vandana prayers?
I can do.
Yep, so please, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavate Sadna Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavate Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Sadma Bandhamati Savadana Mate Bandhu Mohi Sarvadana Mate Bandhu Savadana Mate Mohi Mohi Sarvadana Mate Jahara Prasade Bhai He Bhavaturiya Jai Jahar Prasade Bhai He Bhavaturiya Jai Jahara Prasade Bhai He Bhavaturiya Jai जहर प्रसादे बाय हे ज एवं तुरिया जा कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते रे कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते रे गुरु मोख पद्म चितते कोरिया गुरुमुख पद्मवाक्य चिते कोरियाक्य आना कुरी हो मने आशा आरना कुरियो मने आशा आशा। श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति। 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 जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा। जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा। जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा। जे प्रसाद पूरी सर्व आशा। चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्म जन्म प्रभु से। 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 दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित। ओ दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित। दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित। दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित। प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते। 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 वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित। वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित। वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित। वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित। श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु यादव जनर बंधु। 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 लोकीनाथ लोकीर जीवन। लोकीनाथ लोकीर जीवन। लोकीनाथ लोकीर जीवन। लोकीनाथ लोकीर जीवन। महाप्रभु करु दया देव मोर पद छाया। महाप्रभु करु दया दियो मोरे पद छाया। महाप्रभु करु दया देव मोरे पद छाया। हाँ प्रभु करो दया दियो मोरी पद छाया। हे विचार सुखी भुवन। हे विचार सुखी भुवन। लीला प्रभुपाद पतित पावन। लीला प्रभुपाद पतित पावन। गुरुदेव लो शरण। गुरुदेव दियो शरण। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
Yay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Hare
Usha
Krishna.
Mataji
Thank
and
you.
Meena Mataji. That was very, very devotional and beautiful. Thank you. Would you, one of you, like to read out the translation? Because it's so.
Yes. Okay. Lotus feet of our spiritual master. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great and and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the word emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that all fulfills of desires. He opens my darkness eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth and birth after birth. From his ecstasy, prema emanated by him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of merciful, the the friend of the poor and the Lord and the master of the devotee. O Master, by merciful unto me, give me the give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. You are the friend of the most failures. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jagat BJ. Such a beautiful, I don't know why this translations caught my eyes again. So thank you so much, Mataji. That was so beautiful. That was so all glories to Srila Prabhupada for giving us this nectar. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Mangala Charan prayers, and today it's going to be Gayatri Mataji and Sandeep Prabhu. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Pranams then. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada. So whenever.
Should we just sing?
Oh, sorry.
Bhajan?
Can you not see it? Can you see it now?
Now we can see.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Gayatri Mataji and Sandeep Prabhu. I'm so sorry. My screen has frozen, so it wouldn't move, but I don't think you needed it. You both know the words. Thank you so much. That's very beautiful and very nice when you sing it together. The synchronicity is so beautiful and just enhances everything. Thank you so much. So Prem Thani prayers, let's see, as long as my screen's not frozen. Debashish Prabhu is here. Debashish Prabhu, would you be kind enough to do the Prem Thani prayers?
Mataji, I'm just have a little screen, so I can't see much.
Okay, no worries. Let me just, I think, who else is here? Oh, Saurav Prabhu's here. Saurav Prabhu, would you be kind enough, please?
Yes, I would like to, Mataji. I'm driving at the moment. I'm
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
That's absolutely
Hare
fine.
Krishna.
No worries. Please stay safe. Stay safe. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Radhe Sevika Mataji. I think
Hare
it is Sandeep Prabhu and they were sharing today.
Oh,
Both
okay.
Mangalacharan and
Oh, okay. Yes,
yeah.
Sandeep
Sorry,
Prabhu,
Mataji. Thank you.
please. Yes, please. Can you do the Prem Dhani prayers, or both of you? However you
Hare
plan
Krishna
to do
Mataji. We can do Premadhvani pranam prayers.
Okay, brilliant.
Mataji.
There we go. Can you
Yeah.
see it? This is moving now, so it's not frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
This is good.
जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टा ओम विष्णुपद परमहंस परिवर्जकाय अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. जय ओम विष्णुपादाय परमहंस परिव्रजकाय वर्जकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
Jai.
नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर जी की
Jai.
इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की
Jai.
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की
Jai.
जय वृंदावन धाम की
Jai.
मथुरा धाम की
Jai.
नवद्वीप धाम की
Jai.
जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की
Jai.
जय गंगा माई की
Jai.
यमुना माई की
Jai.
जय तुलसी देवी की
Jai.
भक्ति देवी की
Jai.
Jai.
संकीर्तन यज्ञ की
Jai.
Jai.
बृहद मृदंग की
Jai.
जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की
Jai.
जय गौर प्रेमानंदाय हरि
Hari
Hari Bol.
बोल all glories to the assembled devotees
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna all glories to the assembled devotees
Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga
Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Thank you so much. Very powerful and very, very, very powerful. Thank you so much, both of you. Again, thank you. Hemlata Mataji, would you be kind enough to do the invocation just 3 times? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
I can do that, Mataji. It's no problem.
Okay, Hemlata Mataji might be able to follow you then. Just a moment.
Is she around? Oh.
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll do
Hare
that.
Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, I will follow you.
Okay, so Devashish Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Devashish Prabhu, so lovely to see you. And Meena Mataji, thank you. Sorry, Hemlata Mataji, thank you so much. Lovely to hear your beautiful voice. And that was the invocation for our special guest today, who is His Grace, Mahimarnava Prabhu. And he is on our screen as SB11. Hare Krishna Prabhu, so nice to see you and to have you with us. Can you please, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
It's
so much.
lovely to have you with us this evening. So Prabhu is a great devotee from the Manor. And he serves the Radha Gokulananda deities at the manor, and I've seen him, and he's very, very dedicated to his services. And he's always making everybody feel really welcome, and he's very warm, and his presence is always felt around the manor. So we're very fortunate to have him. He's going to be speaking to us today on Bhagavadgita 2.36 to 38. Prabhu, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you want me to share that screen?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, just a moment. So if you just prepare yourself, and then let me just bring it up. Right, can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, so if you just let me know as you want me to scroll up and down, and whenever you're ready, please start. But before we do, can everybody please give Prabhu lots and lots of love and encouragement by saying 3 Haribols.
Haribol.
Haribol. Haribol.
Yeah, just as
Hari
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari
as
Bol.
Radha Mataji said, Prabhuji is very busy in the temple. He's serving endless, effortless, he's always there. And I'm especially thankful to Prabhu to making time for us from his busy schedule. Hare Krishna. It's nice to have you, Prabhu, after a long time. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I feel very grateful to be here. So thank you. It's been a while, so could you remind me? So do I recite the Sanskrit, the translation, and then the purport, and then just like an over summary?
Yep, that will be fine. Just it's up to you how you do it. But yeah, that's normally how it's done. Yeah.
Okay. Avacha. First of all, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Shivaram Swaminiti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Prishachade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Platforms and opportunities like this to share Krishna consciousness and to share what little I know is an opportunity for my own purification. So I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for welcoming me into your sessions. So we're going to read from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 36 to 38. Avacha vadanscha bahun vadishyanti tava hitaha nindantas samatyam tato dukkataram nukim. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful? What I'm going to do is I'm going to read all the different verses and then I'm just going to share. So purport. Lord Krishna was astonished in the beginning at Arjuna's uncalled for plea for compassion, and he described his compassion as befitting the non-Aryans. Now, in so many words, he has proved his statement against Arjuna's so-called compassion. Next.
Would you like me to? Okay.
Yeah. Just a moment. Hato va prapsyas Svagam jitva va bokshayasye mahim tasmat utishta kunteya yadaya krita nishchaya. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdoms. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Purport. Even though there was no certainty of victory for Arjun's side, he still had to fight. For even being killed there, he could be elevated into the heavenly planets. Sukha duke sami kritva laba labo jaya jayo tato yudaya yasva naivam papam avapshyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Purport. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone. As one is in the ordinary course of activities, it is said, anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. So, it's like, as I was reading these three different verses, one very prominent thing that came to my mind is, and I'm just going to touch a little bit on each topic and then share a little bit more deeper. It can, like, if you actually read the first verse where basically Krishna talks about, like, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability, what could be more painful for you? When the Bhagavad Gita is read, one thing that we can understand and appreciate is just the uniqueness of it. How, as we read different verses, there's multi-layers of understanding, realization, and reflection. Because if you look at the Bhagavad Gita chapter, this particular verse, Krishna is saying to Arjuna that your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. But the interesting thing is that Krishna here is saying what could be more painful for you. So in one sense, it's like, he's getting Arjuna, who's just presented all of these reasons why he shouldn't fight. He's asking Arjuna this rhetorical question. What could be more painful for you? And yet later on, if you actually go to the last verse, where Krishna basically says that, do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. So actually, Krishna is incredible, because if you actually go through the Bhagavad Gita, with this understanding that there are so many layers of subtle sort of wisdom that Krishna is imparting to Arjuna, then you can appreciate it without getting bewildered. You can understand that according to my level of understanding, according to my level of realization, there is different layers of appreciation for what Krishna speaks to Arjuna. And so that's really fascinating. And I think an important element of that is being able to study, being able to read, and being able to understand the Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a spiritual teacher or someone who knows this. Otherwise, it can get really confusing. It can get very overwhelming and contradictive. That's the right word. Sometimes it can seem contradictive, but there is nothing contradictive about what Krishna says. It's just that what is our level of understanding? And so the first thing that I want to really touch on is the first particular verse here, where basically, by the way, I'm looking at my screen, so I hope I'm not being an impersonalist by not staring so much into the camera. This is so much easier when we're all together. But so the first verse is basically where Krishna is saying, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? One of the most beautiful thing about the quality of Arjun is his compassion, is the fact that, like we find as the intensity of the Gita is building up, he doesn't want to fight, that he's trying to look for an alternative solution, a way where he can avoid fighting. But Krishna is really incredible because Krishna is saying that often what it is that the path to hell is paved with good intention. Arjun, you have an incredible intention, but your enemies do not feel the same way. In psychology, there is this concept which is called self-serving bias. Krishna, in one sense, what he's doing is he's telling that your enemies do not feel the same way as you may do. You may want to avoid fighting. You may want to spare their lives. You may want to spare the humiliation. You may want to spare all this. But ultimately, you're dealing with people that do not feel the same way about you. So therefore, if you retreat, they're not going to see your retreat as something honorable. They will not see your retreat as something heroic, but rather because they already have a bias about you, they have a conditioning, they're overwhelmed, they're strongly influenced by the modes. So therefore, what they will do is that they already have a narrative. And if you avoid this fight, then they're just going to call you a coward. They're going to call you all these names. And something that we can understand about Kshatriya is that each varnashram, each varna, each ashram, or each varna has a weakness. And so for the weakness of a Kshatriya is to be called a coward, is to be called names that can be humiliating, like a cow. It's like you wouldn't call a Kshatriya a cow, but rather you would call a bull is even more understanding. So therefore, what Krishna is saying here is that if you retreat, that is far worse. There's a quote that says, a warrior dies but once, a coward dies 1,000 times. That's how painful it is. That here is basically saying that Arjun, your intention may be in the best place, but these people are not here to reciprocate. They will just call you names and they will brand you things, and that will be so dishonorable that you will not be able to bear that pain and you will not be able to continue. That is the pain. Fighting is one element, but if someone calls you humiliating names, there is a certain type of pain that you feel from that sometimes becomes very difficult to live with. I am sure many of you have experienced that. When a best friend or someone that is close to you calls you a very horrendous names maybe, and it's very difficult to live with it. It's very difficult to heal from it. And the Pandavas, not only are they experiencing this now, but they've also experienced it in the past. So this is what you call a self-serving bias. And so Krishna is very intelligent because Krishna is trying to warn Arjuna that people do not have your best of interest. And so therefore they will actually portray you as something weak and cowardly. And so therefore Krishna encourages Arjuna to fight in this war. And it's interesting because if you actually look at the Bhagavad Gita, one thing I just want to sidetrack a little bit. it's very systematic how Krishna actually also talks to Arjun, how he addresses things to Arjun, because he knows that each and every single one of us, just like Arjun, that we can't necessarily jump from A to Z. Not all of us. Some of us may be able to take to the practice of Krishna consciousness just like that. Surrender. I'm here to serve. I'm here to give my life. But some of us may not be able to do that. Some of us may have some attachment, just like Arjun has his attachment to his family. So Arjun is an example, as we go through the Bhagavad Gita, is an example of how Krishna can also be very systematic. Okay, you don't want to do this? Here's a process. I'm currently reading a book called Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani. And in that book, what is addressed is that if one cannot directly achieve pure devotional service, Krishna also gives options of so many other ways that may be indirect, but that will ultimately bring you to pure devotional service. So it's very interesting and fascinating how what it is that Krishna is laying down all these different options, giving all these different answers, trying to help Arjun to understand that ultimately, come to me, surrender, do your duty, do your dharma. So it's really fascinating if we look at this particular verse. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful? Krishna is getting Arjun to think. Just the same way, like if we actually look at the Dhruva Maharaj story, where Dhruva's stepmom was making Dhruva think, through the power of question, through the power of narrative, getting him to think and act. So, and one thing that I really want to touch on is that there's also a more deeper element of, like, I just want to bring it to a relevance in our own lives, because that's what the Bhagavad Gita is. It's not just an information. It's not just a book of data. It's a book of transformation. If we look at, there's a deeper element of this particular verse, and the deeper element is each and every single one of us, we're practicing Krishna consciousness. Now, if we look at even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like the famous quote where, from the Shikshastakam, where he says, Trunadapi sunechena, tarorapi sahechnana, amanena, manadena, kirtanya sadahari. In one sense, when you look at this verse, or 236, why should Arjun care? Why should Arjun care? Like, why is it important, like, what people think of you? Why is it important what people think of you? Especially us as a practicing devotees, why is it important? And so therefore, if you look at the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he took, he took sannyas. And when he took sannyas, he specifically took sannyas from a Mayavad Sampradaya. And when he took, and why did he do that? So one of the reasons why is because in our Krishna consciousness, we have to understand that we may not want respect. We may not want honor. We may not want fame. But for the sake of preaching, for the sake of glorifying Krishna, for the sake of spreading our message wide, for the sake of Dharma, sometimes in life we have to take on responsibilities. We have to be mindful. We have to be conscious of how we're presenting ourselves in the outside world, because to that degree, the people around us will be able to take our message serious. They will be able to take our preaching serious. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada always mentions this element of dress, then address. So here, it's not so much about, it's not just about, oh, people will call me names, but it's also the fact that if Arjun does not commit to his dharma, if he does not perform his dharma, then he deviates from dharma and then becomes a dharmic, which is sinful, and which also what it is that it prevents the ability to be able to propagate Krishna consciousness, to be able to perform his duty, his responsibility. So do you see how Do you see how in this particular verse, if we bring it to reality, what it is that we have to be mindful. The most unbearable thing is enduring words that are rumor, that are not true, but that can also hurt us. And so therefore we have to be mindful. We have to be conscious of how we're presenting ourselves, how we're externally showcasing ourselves. Just as Arjun in this case scenario, it's like he may want to not fight, but how will that affect his internal self? How will that impact him? Will he be able to endure that? The suffering of not fighting is more painful than actually the suffering of fighting. Because the suffering of fighting, and then as we go into the next verses, Krishna will explain that you're actually grieving for the temporary. What is it? Short-term gratification, long-term pain and regret. So therefore, Krishna is urging Arjuna not to act in a way that you will cause more suffering, more pain to yourself. It may look like a good solution, but on the long term, it will actually incur more struggles for you. And so we have to be so mindful of that in our own life. We have to be super, super mindful. And part of being mindful, I just want to touch on one thing because I want to bring relevance to the Bhagavad Gita, is that a lot of this also has to do with understanding how the modes work. Of course, in one sense, Arjun, it's like he is the best friend of Krishna. He shares that rasa. But what it is that for the sake of our own Krishna consciousness, all this pastime is unmanifesting. And one particular verse that I just want to quickly mention is from the Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 29, verse 10, where it said that devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. So what it is that part of what this whole pastime as it's unfolding is also elaborating for us is that so much of our choices and actions are influenced by the different modes. And so therefore what it is that it's important to pause. And if we move on to the next particular verse, is that, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with a determination and fight. The first thing that, one thing that I want to mention when I'm looking at this particular verse is that why did Arjun, there's many questions we can ask, but how is it Arjun experienced this level of confusion, this level of bewilderment? How did it come to this point where he was like even thinking that I don't want to fight? Why do I have to fight my family, my friends, my teachers? Arjun, through his own example in the Bhagavad Gita, teaches us a very, very powerful lesson. And what is that powerful lesson? Because if you look at this particular verse, to some degree, it's like an instruction, therefore get up with determination and fight. And that powerful lesson that we can appreciate and we can learn from this particular verse is that proximity does not necessarily mean that we are close to Krishna. More important than proximity is taking on the instruction of the spiritual teacher. in our own life, sometimes we want to be around our gurus, we want to be around our mentors all the time. But Prabhupada uses the analogy like of a fly that's just, hovering around the master. If we're always just constantly close, but we're not taking the instruction that is given to us with full faith, then what it is that we will continue to experience bewilderment. And so therefore what it is that when I look at this particular verse, one thing that immediately comes to my mind is having faith. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. So the last element of it, if you look at it, is faith. The other element of it is, but before I even go on to the other element, one particular verse from the Bhagavatam I also want to mention here is from Canto 11, chapter 25, verse 27, where it's basically said that faith directed towards spiritual life is in a mode of goodness. Faith rooted in fruitive work is in a mode of passion. And faith residing in irreligious activity is in a mode of ignorance. But faith in my devotional service is purely transcendental. So it's really fascinating. I just want to stress and emphasize this enough because it's becoming the theme of my meditation lately. That even faith towards spiritual life is a mode of goodness, but faith towards Krishna and his instruction is on a pure transcendental platform. So that's one element of it if you actually look at it. How can we develop more faith in the instructions of the spiritual teacher of Krishna? The other element of it is, I just want you to appreciate how incredibly compassionate Krishna is. Because what it is that Krishna here in this particular verse, he is actually describing the concept of karma kanda. He's actually describing how even within regulative principle, one can actually experience a level of sense gratification. Because what it is that by being able to enjoy within the regulative principle through karma kanda, what it is that that increases your faith. What Krishna is saying here is that, ultimately the most important thing is increasing your faith in me. And if that means that you must enjoy this and enjoy that, as long as it is within the regulative principle, then ultimately, eventually, you will come to me. So do you see how incredibly compassionate Krishna is? He is so merciful. Krishna isn't a punishing God. He isn't a misunderstand. It's not that he doesn't understand our situation and our circumstances, but rather he has so many different ways that we can come to him. And that's one beautiful thing to really appreciate. Just a moment. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Just bear with me for a second. Sorry, just bear with me for a second. Sorry, I hope I didn't make you wait for too long. Sorry about that. But what it is that, so carrying on, in that particular verse of chapter 2, verse 37. Sorry, just bear with me. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, so let's just do this instead, is that, okay, bear with me, apologies. Okay, so O Song of Quinty, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdoms. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So here, Arjun, one of the things that we can understand from this particular verse is Arjun's dilemma. Arjun seems to be thinking that this is a loss and loss situation. That if I win, then what happens is that then I lose all of my family members, I lose my friends, I lose everyone. But then if I don't fight, or if I lose, then what happens is I just die in the battlefield. So what it is that he is, or basically, you know, that I'll be dishonored, I'll be a beggar if I don't fight, basically. So if I fight, I will win, but I'll lose all of my loved ones. But if I don't fight, then what it is that, you know, I will experience dishonor. So what choice do I really have, Krishna? Like, what do I do from here? But Krishna is really incredible. So this particular verse, one thing that really comes to my mind, what Krishna does is that Krishna reassures Arjun. And so do you see how what we've moved on from verse 36 to 37 to 38? What Krishna is doing is he's giving different realizations to Arjun based on what he can digest, based on what he's able to understand and comprehend. And so here Krishna is reassuring Arjun that, you know, that ultimately everyone around you is an eternal soul. Everyone around you is an eternal soul, and what you're weeping for, what you're crying for, what you're grieving for is just like different garments of body. And so therefore what it is that you shouldn't grieve, because they're eternal, just as you're eternal. But what it is that if you do not fight, if you do not actually fight this war, then what you will experience internally will be far more painful. That you will incur sin and you will incur disgrace, leading to your own suffering. Another thing that I really appreciate is that how Krishna also tells Arjun that the thing is, whether you fight or whether you don't fight, they will inevitably disintegrate. They will inevitably die. But become an instrument in this war and experience the glory. So what Krishna is telling Arjun in this particular verse, and perhaps maybe, you know, like something I'm deeply reflecting on recently, is that sometimes it's like we just see the external situation. We see the external suffering of someone else. And yes, you know, just like when I think it was Abhimanyu, like who passed away, like, you know, yes, we can experience tears, we can experience emotions, we can experience empathy. To be a devotee doesn't mean that we lack empathy, but it means we do have empathy. But at the same time, we can understand that beyond the body, there is a spiritual being. So whilst I am feeling empathy, whilst I am like, you know, I have this desire, this tendency to want to help this person to navigate through their suffering and pain, I must understand that there is another layer, and that another layer is the spirit soul within that person who is suffering and struggling. And so therefore, if by doing my duty, by doing my dharma, what is our dharma? Our dharma is to do the best that we can to share Krishna consciousness in a sensitive way, in an inspirational way, in a relevant way. And by being able to do my dharma, then not only am I able to help that person, not only do I have a material compassion, but I also have spiritual compassion. And spiritual compassion is not just helping that person in the body that they're in, but helping the soul that is trapped within that body. So it's really fascinating here. Krishna is actually telling Arjun that by you fighting in this war, by you winning this war, it's not that you're just winning, you're actually helping everyone else around also. So in one sense, he's saying that death is inevitable, but the pain that you will incur and what will unfold after that, if you do not do your duty and your dharma properly, that will be far worse. And then the other thing that we were touching on is that, sometimes it's like in our own spiritual life, when we meet people for the first time, or when we meet people like, and I think this is so important to share, especially in this community that I'm sharing with, that there has to be a level of sensitivity. There has to be, like, if you actually look at this particular verse, what Krishna is saying to Arjun is that if you die as a hero, if he dies a hero's death, basically he attains heaven. And if he wins, he enjoys earth. So Krishna isn't saying like, like you're not going to get any of this, or like, yes, just bhakti is the right way. What Krishna is saying here that is that it's a win-win situation. If you fight in this war and you win, then you win, like, you win everything. But if you die a hero's death, then you attain the kingdom. And perhaps maybe this is a very important lesson for us, that when we practice Krishna consciousness, sensitivity and awareness is so important, and understanding that just like Krishna is laying the blueprint for Arjuna and telling him that there is, like, if you do this, then you'll achieve that. If you do this, then you'll achieve this. So giving him different options of what will possibly happen. So similarly, in our own Krishna consciousness, sometimes we have the tendency to, like when we speak to people, that if you don't practice Krishna consciousness, then you're following the wrong path, or you're not doing things correctly, or that this is ultimately the only path. And so what happens is that we have to find that point of connection with people that we communicate. We have to find that point of connection, just like Srila Prabhupada. If we look at Srila Prabhupada, when he came to America, it's not that he immediately took people to just bhakti. It was a gradual process. You call it the yoga ladder. It was a gradual process, but through that gradual process, eventually, when their hearts were one, they were able to take to devotional service completely, fully, without any apprehensiveness. So people don't care how much we know until we know how much we care. That's the most important thing to remember. And so here, if you look at actually Krishna, he's playing that same role. He's saying that, like, yes, there's pure bhakti, but even if we just go one step before that, there's also these other options. Because what it is that what Krishna is trying to show us is that by us being able to increase our faith in Dharma, by able to do our duty and responsibility, even if it is for material desire, eventually it will be purified. And the more, I'm sure many of us, like, I don't know about you guys, when I came to Krishna consciousness, many people, when they come into Krishna consciousness, is because there's an element, there's a degree of material desire. And that material desire may be that I just want to avoid suffering. Like, I don't want to suffer anymore. I just want to be happy. I want to be in a community of people that I'm like-minded to. Very rarely are there a lot of people, because it's like, I want to completely surrender to Krishna. There's always some reason for why people have come to Krishna consciousness. But if you look 10 years later, or 10 years back, you realize that, wow, the initial purpose that I came for Krishna consciousness has now changed. It slowly has been purified. So what Krishna is trying to display here is that even if one comes to devotional life, even if one does any form of activity for material desires, at least they're coming to Krishna. At least they're praying to Krishna. At least they have faith in Krishna. And that faith over time becomes purified. And the more that faith becomes purified, then one can take to pure devotional service. In the Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, what that basically is explained is something called shadow semblance faith, which basically one is coming to Krishna with some material desire, and Krishna may fulfill that material desire. But over time, what happens is we realize that that material desire is not what's going to bring me happiness. It's not what's going to bring me joy. It may temporarily relieve me of whatever conflict that I'm experiencing, but in the long term, the only thing that will bring me joy and happiness is pure devotional service. But we have to come to that understanding from within. And that comes through experiencing this thing that we call life, and fulfilling our own desire as such. So therefore, what it is that dharma, artha, karma, all of these are legitimate goals of life. Because if it's done correctly, it will ultimately bring us to Krishna consciousness. And not only Krishna consciousness, can I share something interesting with you? It will ultimately bring us closer to devotees. Because when one experiences futility in their sense gratification, when one experiences unhappiness, when one has everything in life and they're still unsatisfied, it makes them question and wonder, like, who can I get the answer from? What's really beyond all this? Why is it that I'm still unhappy? Why is it that those people that are living simple are happy and yet I have everything and I'm unhappy? So in one sense, my thing is like these things, as we go deeper into our Krishna consciousness, for us it may be like, no, pure devotional service is the way. And yes, it is the way. But what it is that one important quality that we should develop in our life is this ability to be able to connect with people at where they are at. And when we can do that, then we can take them to somewhere higher by the mercy of the Lord and our spiritual teacher. And so another thing for us to bear in mind is that in our own life, when we are faced with uncertainty, like it's easy to be Krishna consciousness, or like, it's more simple to be Krishna consciousness when there is no difficulty in our life, when there is no challenges in our life. But one of the most amazing things that I have learned from this particular verse is that when there is uncertainty, when there is confusion, when there is doubt, whatever it is, one of the most important things that we should work towards to is developing faith in the principles of Dharma and knowledge, and being able to do that from being able to connect with ourselves as a spiritual souls, basically. And that's what the process of the scriptures of what Krishna is trying to relate to Arjuna in this particular verse is. That this is not a loss and loss situation, but rather it's a win and win situation. As long as we work through the lenses, as long as we work through the channel of the soul rather than just the body. And so therefore, Krishna is telling Arjuna, stand firm and fight with determination. Because know that ultimately none of these people are going to die. They're just basically going to transmigrate from one body to another. The soul is eternal. The last verse is chapter 2, verse 38. By the way, I hope this whole trying to bring it to relevance is working, because you see, one of the biggest thing is that, we're all looking for practical solutions. We're all looking for practical ways to also navigate through our own lives. And so the Bhagavad Gita is not just a philosophical book. It's not just a book where we discuss, the hereafter. There's also a book that we discuss what's going on in our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day basis of what we're experiencing. And the more we practice the principles of the Bhagavad Gita, the more that increases our faith from mode of goodness to transcendental, mode of transcendental. So the last verse is that where basically Krishna says to Arjuna, do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. So do you see how the narrative has changed so greatly from between verse 36 to verse 38? And so this is what I was trying to relate to you just previously now, that we have to be like, sometimes in our dealings, in our relationships, when we're trying to guide people, when we're trying to inspire people in Krishna consciousness, we have to work through systematically, as Krishna has just done to Arjuna. It's like if someone has a scarce for public speaking, we're not just gonna, ask that person like, okay, go and speak in front of 200 people. Because then what will happen is that, yes, we want to stretch someone, but we don't want to break someone. If we break someone, then we break their faith. But if we stretch someone, what we're doing is we're strengthening their faith. And so this is what Krishna is doing to Arjuna. That in in 36, he was saying that let me just go to it again. What he was saying was that, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? But now he's basically saying, be detached from all that. It doesn't matter. Just do your duty, fight without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing so, you shall never incur um, sin. So this is what I was trying to relate to you earlier on, that it's so important that when we read the Bhagavad Gita, it's not just black and white. It's devotees always say that whenever they go back to the Bhagavad Gita, they always get different realizations. They always get like they appreciate different things that they weren't able to see in the past. So there's different layers of understanding. And the most important thing that it really centers around is the knowledge of the soul. And that is what Arjun is being guided to understand up until now. And this particular verse, one thing that Krishna is trying to relay very strongly is that ultimately what it is that it is not happiness, it is not distress, it's not loss, it's not gain, it's not victory, it's not defeat. It's none of these things that are actually going to bring us a lasting satisfaction in this world. Fulfillment will only come from spiritual experience because we are spiritual being having this sort of physical experience of reality. And that spiritual experience that we're ultimately looking for is love. And love is important. How does love manifest? Love manifests when we do our duty without attachment, without someone telling us to do our duty, but without attachment. That is genuine love. And that's how we can experience love in our own life for Krishna, by doing our duty, by doing our dharma, by doing our responsibility without any condition. That is the highest. And that is what Krishna is trying to bring us to. And that is why Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON. That is why Srila Prabhupada established following the four regulative principle, chanting a minimum of 16 rounds. Because in the beginning, many of us, we may not necessarily want to do it, or we may struggle to do it. Like, at least, for those that may have not come from a pious family, it may be difficult. But for many of us, it's difficult. But by being able to do this without any attachment, that is genuine love. And that is what Krishna is bringing Arjuna to. In the beginning, it was like, yes, be worried about this, be worried about that. But now it's like, don't be worried about anything. Just do your duty and do it for me. And by doing so, you will experience genuine happiness by being able to do your duty and responsibility. Krishna is telling Arjuna, please rise to a higher level of understanding. And what is that level of understanding? That level of understanding is that you're a spiritual being, you're a soul. Your soul, and what you're doing right now is you're hankering to the temporary, which just increases our suffering. And so what we can understand is that the Bhagavad Gita is a very beautiful scripture because it's gradually, slowly leading us to a higher level, a higher dimension, a higher knowledge and understanding. Mm. Mm-hmm. And one of the last thing that I will leave you with is that I will give you this example. Maybe a very beautiful example. The most beautiful example is imagine you're watching a TV, or you're watching like like your favorite movie, your favorite show, whatever it is that you're watching. And what it is that it happens all the time. This is not even something like pretentious. This happens all the time. In one of the poem called The Paradox of Our Time, it is said that nowadays we have found ways to connect with each other, and yet we've become so much more disconnected from one another. And so one of the things that perhaps maybe we can be conscious of is imagine that you're watching a TV and right next to you is like, your wife, your husband, your best friend, your children. And what it is that you're so absorbed in what you're watching that there is so much time that is being wasted, like that is so much time that you're missing out in developing, deepening, relishing that relationship with your wife, with your husband, with your children, with whoever it is next to you. And so similarly, what it is that Krishna is right next to us. Krishna is always guiding us. And Krishna is guiding us through the Bhagavad Gita. But when we're so focused on what is happening in the world around us, then we're missing out on the opportunity to develop spiritual vision. We're missing out on the opportunity to develop a deeper connection, a relationship, a deeper appreciation and relishment with our relationship with Krishna, the devotees, and yeah, just those around us. And what it is that takes an element of choice. It takes an element of choice where we decide that I'm not going to just see things through the lenses, through the channel of my body, but I will work towards seeing things through the channel of my soul. And how do we do that? It's by developing, just like we're doing this regularly, by developing this sort of space where we can become more deep rooted in our spirituality. We can have these type of different conversations. We can really listen to the instructions of Krishna. And the more we become, Gauranga Prabhu was saying something, the more we become attracted to the instructions of Krishna, what happens is that our that the ability to be equal posed increases and our anxiety decreases. Our anxiety decreases when we try and make our own arrangement, just like Arjuna displays through these particular verses, when we try and make our own arrangement to be happy in this world, when we try and make our own arrangement to experience satisfaction in this world, then what happens is our anxiety increases. But when we align our will with the will of the Lord, when we become faithful to his instructions, when we become faithful to his guidance, then what happens is that our calmity, not calamity, calmity, if that isn't even a word, our ability to be able to be calm and not tempted by situations around us increases. And so therefore what it is that one of Arjuna's main concern for not fighting was actually the fear of sin. But that fear of sin can be avoided when we do our dharma, when we do our duty and our responsibility in this world without any attachment to the result. That may be difficult, but it is possible. And so if we, just to kind of summarize and to conclude, Krishna is taking Arjuna through a gradual process from first being on a bodily platform, then eventually trying to guide him to a spiritual platform, where he's helping Arjuna to realize that, yes, all these concerns may exist, but if you work towards seeing things through a spiritual vision, then you can understand that there is a greater plan. And I want you to be a part of that plan. And by being a part of that plan, then you will experience genuine happiness. But the moment that you misalign with my plan, then you will continue to suffer. You will continue to be confused and you will continue to struggle. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I was able to bring some relevance to it in our own lives. And I hope I was able to kind of really share the essence of what there was there. Thank you so much. I don't know, because I wasn't.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. So much nectar, and that's so much to pick at. I just want to ask: has anyone got any questions for Prabhu?
My question was that relevant? Was that okay? Like, I tried to kind of make it as kind of relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way you talked about it and the steps, and I think your realization on the verses as well, it was very, very impactful, and bringing it, like you said, to for us to be able to apply it in our day to day, and the way you interpreted it with the modes, and people are going to see it differently from the mode that they're going to be standing in. And I think that was really quite powerful. All of it was really powerful. There was so many little nuggets you had in there. So thank you. So I'm sure
Thank you.
everyone will give you feedback. But just firstly, if there's any questions, well, on any of the, there's so much to that. I think you have to listen to it again and again.
It's either I've confused people too much or people have understood everything.
No, I think
No, not really, Prabhu. I think everyone was absorbed listening.
Thank you.
Very
Yeah.
well.
So Amol Prabhu, do you have any questions? Thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, so beautiful session, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I don't have any questions at this stage. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think if no one has a question, I maybe like, because you know this thing is like, I just really, really, really want to stress and emphasize this point that, you know, like just how we like, just like Krishna, how he is relating to Arjun, we have to be so conscious and so mindful of how we relate to the relationships around us with people. You know, because what it is sometimes we can get into this mindset that like, yes, I'm a preacher. I know what I need to say, that we almost find ourselves disconnected from an individual's need. Krishna knew the need of Arjun. And so therefore he connected with Arjun as at where he is at, and then eventually elevated him to where he wants Arjun to be. And so we have to be so mindful, like, not get caught up in this whole mindset of I'm a preacher, so let me just give it as it is. But try and get into this mindset that, I'm here to really empathize with the people around me, understand where they're at, and see how I can connect with them at where they're at and help them to come to a higher stage. If we can do that, then not only do we find that more people are embracing Krishna consciousness, but we will find that more people will continue to feel inspired in practicing Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, that's so deep, isn't it? Like, because sometimes, like you say, like this could, especially these kind of verses, like someone might say, okay, well, is it applicable to us? We're not actually on a battlefield, or we're not always aware even of these, of what all, these kind of the depth of this, and bringing it to life, of course, that helps, that wide audiences to connect with kind of difficult topics as well. Even if, like, if we just take some of these, I mean, who's really going to sit there and think about, oh well, I'm on a battlefield, am I going to go to heaven, or what have you? Or probably Arjun isn't probably even thinking like that, but Krishna is bringing up a he's bringing another angle to this, and it's really deep, and I think you explored it really, really well.
Yeah.
um
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I think what it is that when we look at the Bhagavadgita, in one sense, what you mentioned is like, there's relevance to it. We read the Gita and we're like, I'm not in a battlefield. Like, I can't, how do I relate to this? But actually, if you look at it in one sense, we are on a battlefield. It's like there is nothing ordinary about our life. Every single day, we're being attacked by the different 6 enemies: lust, greed, hatred, anger. We are on a battlefield. We're just probably not being attacked by something that we can physically see, that we can physically experience. But they say that the biggest dilemma in the 21st century is mental health. That's the biggest war that we're facing with now, is our own mental well-being. And it isn't easy because we have all these different enemies. So in one sense, when we look at this, it's almost like Krishna is encouraging us, wake up every day, fight these enemies, have faith in me, and you will conquer it. Like, you see how I like to try and bring some sort of relatability to the Gita. It's not that it's just a war that happened like 5,000 years ago. Like, I'm just reading it. Like, what can I extract from it? But we are experiencing enemies every day. Every day you wake up and you ask yourself, do I wake up with a positive and Krishna consciousness mood, or am I just lazy? Every day we wake up, do I do I prolong the alarm clock, or do I wake up for Mangalarti? Do I chant my rounds? Do I try and be positive around devotees? So every day we're battling. We're always facing all these different battles.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's just such a brilliant way of putting it. The 6 enemies, where actually, they are the battles that we're facing every day. And are we conquering them?
Yeah.
And that's such an amazing way to put something like that. And with, again, it's the relatability of it. Because most people can probably, everyone has mental health. And for the well-being of it, everyone can relate to that, and it's something that they can use as a gauge to see how far they are in like exactly the scenario you use. Am I positive with devotees? Am I coming in giving it all my all, or am I not? Or where is it not happening for me today? Or and again, that's just such an amazing way to use this verse to actually help people relate to something, something that might be a contemporary yeah. I mean, it's not just a contemporary issue. Obviously, Arjun has weakness of mind at some points as well, which is demonstrated, and therefore Krishna brings him up. But it's a situation that everybody goes through, and that's just a really brilliant way of putting it in terms of mental health.
Arjun's depression, that's what it's described as. But yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, Arjun's depression, yeah, because it is a weakness, and it's not weak, his depression, because it is a mental state, and everybody can relate to that. So even if they're not on a battlefield as per se, they can relate to it through the challenges that they're having on a daily basis. That's really, really very applicable.
But also, like, we shouldn't, like, if we look at Arjun's depression in life, sometimes we have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. So it was actually that kind of anxiety, that kind of like I'm sure, like most of us, we've had to have some level of breakdown in life. Like, I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, I had to have a breakdown in my life to be able to kind of experience different breakthroughs. So also we see that, the Bhagavad Gita gives us hope. If Arjuna is going through this kind of depression, but he's being inquisitive, he's asking questions, he's taking direction and instruction, and then ultimately he was able to navigate through this, then there is hope for me too. I shouldn't be hopeless. I should try and be hopeful. I should try and turn to Krishna and be like, I'm sure you have an amazing plan for my life also. So let me just see where this is all going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure everyone can probably relate with you there as well. That we have these moments, and therefore, we can look upon Bhagavad Gita as the kind of saving grace, in terms of like being hopeful through those challenging times. And Krishna puts us in so many of them as well. I suppose we deal with them on, like, sometimes on a daily basis, or if you're a bit more kind of, it could be it's a bit more stretched out sometimes. But these kind of situations, and like you say, the breakthroughs happen through the kind of lower we are, or the more the more we've kind of gone into that breakdown, or that suffering, um and going past it and through it, on the other side there is always Krishna, and he is there supporting us. I don't know if anyone else would like to say something about that, because that's really important. Would anyone like to share anything about that?
I guess like yeah, 'cause I think individuals and like it's getting late also a bit, so maybe I'll just kind of leave with one final thought, and then yeah, before everyone goes. I think it's important. It's a reminder that I give myself every single day that actually what it is that Arjun's weakness is actually a strength. There is a strength in saying that I'm confused. There's a strength in saying that I'm struggling. There's a strength in slipping and picking ourselves up and carrying on. Actually, it's like, one person gave me an advice once and told me that Krishna consciousness isn't just about going in direct line. Krishna consciousness is all the times that we're not in a direct line. We're going up and down, up and down, up and down, but we're still coming back and we're still carrying on. That is the real beauty of Krishna consciousness. We're going to have a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of sides, a lot of lefts and rights, but it's how we still carry on with enthusiasm, Srila Prabhupada says, with utsaha. So in one sense, I really love it. Like, I love the fact that, like we can see it as a weakness, but actually this is a strength, because it's actually through Arjun's honesty, it's through Arjun's transparency, is through embracing what he was experiencing and feeling that then became a strength that allowed him to be able to, like fight with determination. So it's an encouragement that I give myself every single day, that not every single day will I feel 100% Krishna conscious. There'll be days I'll feel 80%, there'll be days I'll feel 30%, there's days I'll feel 90%, but it's okay. It's part of the journey. You just have to keep showing up with enthusiasm and keep carrying on. And eventually one day, you'll feel like, yes, I'm there.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That is a very inspirational set of, especially, the utsahan and the enthusiasm, just to kind of continue with that. And we'll get there. And I think your session's been really inspiring. And it's really amazing to see what you've taken away from Bhagavad Gita as well. And these verses really help to highlight that. So thank you so much. So can I please just ask everybody to unmute and wish Prabhu, furtherment in his Krishna consciousness, and also and to just share appreciation by just saying 3 big Hari Bols. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Devashish Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Always having pleasure, Prabhu, to Sangha. Look forward to see you soon. Not that long this time. Hari Bol, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And I think these verses are so potent and they're so important, as Prabhu has really shared with us. It might just be an idea for all of us to just maybe just recite them, actually. Is that okay? If everyone, we've got a little bit of time. If we can just go in order and everybody just recites them, I'll put them on the screen, because they are all just really, and the way he described them, I mean, it said so perfectly. So would we just go in alphabetical order? So we'll start with Devashish Prabhu, and then Mrida Sachi Mataji, Meena Mataji, sorry, Amol Prabhu first. Amol Prabhu, then Devashish Prabhu, then Meena Mataji, then Prabhavati Mataji, and no, so Mrida Sachi Mataji, and then Prabhavati Mataji, and then Usha Mataji. Sorry, I don't know my ABCs yet. Okay, so Amol Prabhu, would you be kind enough to?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Okay.
अवाच्यवादांश बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखातरं नु किम्. हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय दुःखाय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Amol Prabhu. It's just lovely to hear from you again today. How was your Jagannath Rath Yatra?
It was so beautiful, Mataji. Many
Would you like to
devotees.
share something before we move on?
So it was raining, but still devotees gathered together and danced and sang very beautiful kirtans.
Yeah.
And there are two Jagannath, two chariots. One is children's chariot, and one is the adult chariot, big one. And we had a nice, delicious prasadam. We went through the procession. It was so blissful, Mataji.
Oh, I think we can imagine it now. That sounds amazing. Thank you. Oh, it was in Manchester, right?
Yes, Mataji. Yes,
Okay. Is it near the shopping center or?
it is. Yes, it is nearer to shopping center.
Yeah, Trafford Centre. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. If you have any photos, please share them. And Devashish Prabhu, would you be kind enough to?
Hare Krishna Mataji, you put me in a tough situation after Ramugga Prabhu is me. Like,
Yeah, as soon as Amol Prabhu says it, like we're all clocked on it. It's like it's so difficult after that.
Avashya Badam Chavahu Vadisyanti Tavahanti Nindastastava Samartaya Tato Dukha Taram Nukim. Hare Krishna Mataji. Next
Hare
someone.
Krishna. Next one. You still got two more. I'll make it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hatova Prashyati Shargam Jitava Vakasha Mahim Tasmat Uddista Kuntaya Uddhaya Krita Nishchaya.
Brilliant.
Sukho dukhe same kritva lava jaya jaya tato udhyayo uchasya naivam pabam avasasi.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you
After
so much.
Ramugga Prabhu, Mataji is very difficult.
It's hard, isn't it? I know. It's hard after that. But he does tune us all in. So it becomes a little bit easier. Mampi Mataji,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. We haven't seen you for so long.
I know, Mataji. I saw you the other day in the temple.
Yeah, I've seen you from afar as well, but I haven't, like not properly.
Yeah, that's right. Avashya vadamscha vahun vadisyanti tavahita nindantastava samarthiyam tato dukkha taram nukim. Hato va prapsyasi swargam jidva va voksyase mahim tasmad uttishta konteya yadhaya krita nishchaya. Sukha dukhe same kritva lava lavo jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yuchyasva naivam papam avapsyasi.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Mampi Mataji. That was lovely. Thank you. Okay, and next is, I think it's Mrida Sachi Mataji. Just a moment.
Palji.
Oh,
Vinodana.
1 minute. I think it's Mrida Sachi Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah.
अवच्च बहु वदिष्यन्ति तव हिता निन्दन्तस्तव समर्थायं तदो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Okay.
हातो वा प्रपश्यसि सर्वगं जिता वा भोक्ष्यस्महिं तस्मात् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चये. सुखदुःखे समकृत्वा लम्भलाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युजयस्व नैवं पापम् अवापश्यसि.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mrida Sachi Mataji. Thank you. And now Meena Mataji. Just a moment. Let's take it back. Okay.
Hare Krishna. अवज्ञावादाश्चं बहुन्वदिष्यति तवाहिता निन्दतस्तव सामर्थ्य ततो दुःखन्तरनु किम. हतो वाप्याप्यसि स्वर्ग जित्वा वा मोक्ष्यसि महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Thank you so much, Meena Mataji. That was lovely. Thank you. Thank you. And now Prabhavati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
आवाच्यवादांश बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दंस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्. हतो वा प्राप्स्यसे स्वर्गं जित्वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. सुखदुःखसमे कृत्वा लाभलाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So melodious and so and done it. You did it even without looking, so even better. Okay, and I think it's Usha Mataji, unless I've missed someone out.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, it's Usha Mataji.
Okay. अवाच्यवादांश्च बहून् विदर्शन्ति तवाहितः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्य ततो दुःखतरं निति. हतो वा प्राप्यसि स्वर्ग जित्वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Usha Mataji. And
Mataji as well. yourself as well, Mataji.
Okay. अवाच्यावदं च बाहो वादिष्यन्ति तवाहितः निन्दन्तस्तव समार्थ्यं तथो दुःखातरं नु किम्. हतो वा प्रप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वभोक्ष्यसे माहिं तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युधया कृतनिश्चया. सुखदुःखसमकृत्वा लाभलाभो जयाजयो ततो युधाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. Hare Krishna. So, does anyone want to say anything on these verses before we do Nashingadev prayers? Any realizations? I know that was quite it really spoke to Prabhu that spoke it, but it's quite
I think the last shloka,
yeah,
what is noted, Mataji? It
the
seems.
last 38, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we got it. This one.
Yeah, you could read Mataji purport, please.
Okay, so do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by doing so you shall never incur sin. So the purport is Lord Krishna now directly says Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. So this is obviously Lord wants this battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, Devarshi Bhuta Nirnam Pritnamna Kinkaronayam Rinnihi Charajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartam. Anyone who has completely surrendered onto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, nor the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse. And the matter will be more clearly explained. So I mean, essentially, to me, this means that that if Krishna tells you to fight, then you fight. You don't think of, because, especially, I mean, he didn't mention the war so much, but if Krishna is asking us to do something, if that voice is deep enough, then we should be doing it. It's out. If Krishna, it doesn't matter if Krishna is saying, because it's a dharma war. it's a yud of dharma, and therefore, without, you know, he's a kshatriya, without considering anything, he should just fight, because that it's because it's Krishna's will. And so many times we do what our will wants to do. And I think he mentioned that the confusion arises is what is our will, what is Krishna's will. um and we have that we have to be able to discriminate against what is our will and what is Krishna's will. I think that's the big question here. I don't know, Amol Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Um, so just as a matter of duty, one has to execute this one. It doesn't matter irrespective of the results, either it is pleasing or not pleasing, or happy or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. Because ultimate results Krishna is going to give. So karmanyavadhikarate ma paleshu kathachana. Ma karma palhetir bhuhu ma te sangostva karmani. There should not be any sangha with the activity. So this is in another angle. So Krishna is saying just be equipoised to both good and bad. Irrespective of that, because we have got only time factor. In fact, there is no good time or bad time, something like that. We have got only one time. It does not distinguish. Irrespective of our activities, our body is going to be diminished. So, and it will be deteriorated, and then it will be ruined on one day. So, instead of waiting whether it is good or bad, according to our constitutional position, one has to execute that as a matter of duty. Okay, as simple as that. And just giving the results back to Krishna without attaching to results. Whatever comes, we take it.
Yeah, it's quite. But someone could read this verse and they could fight like an adharmic war based on this as well. Because then they can say the same thing, can't they? We're fighting for. So if you look at Duryodhan's side, or you look at Arjuna's side, they're both gonna. This verse could actually apply. The Kauravas would be saying the same thing, wouldn't they? That they're fighting for their sake, because that's their dharma, and then Arjun saying that it's his dharma. And then I think, how do we know? I think I don't know. I think my question is that how do we know it's Krishna that wants us to, or whether it's our mind that wants? Because Duryodhan it's his mind, isn't it? It's his silliness and his stupidness that has brought him into this situation. Whereas Arjuna, he's on the side of dharma, and therefore Krishna is on his side. So how, how do we discriminate against what Krishna's will is and what our concocted mind is saying?
So here, Duryodhana. So Duryodhana is exactly doing what he meant to do. Because he says to so during that time, uh, just before the Kurukshetra battle, he understands many people are instructing him what is dharma and what is not dharma. He says, okay, I know what is dharma, what is not dharma, but I do not listen. I act according to what the Creator has created me for. I act accordingly. I do not want to go in another way. Again, Krishna says, Shreyos vadharman vigunaha paradharmo bhayavaha. So, and Shreyos vadharmam swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Our personal duty, it is better to execute, though instead of putting hand in some other's duty. Even though we are able to do it perfectly, we should not do and involve in some other's duties. But even it is not good, it is better to stick on to our duty. So sometimes we would say, I may be teaching children very nicely, but I do not want to just to go and take them to the PE sessions and then just make them to do But I am allocated, though I am perfectly able to do it in the exercises in the ground, but I am allocated only for teaching. So if we just do it, then we are done it. If we wanted to try to do some other's duty, then bhayavaha, the fearfulness will come. So
That's really interesting, actually. That is so interesting because we should just stick to what we have to do. Yeah,
yes,
that is so interesting. Yeah. Otherwise, the fear comes. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that is so true, actually. But then, how do we know what when we've if we're feeling fear? Is that because we've overcrossed what we were supposed to do? And that's only like in a material sense that I'm asking, not in a spiritual.
So in the material sense, so we are, for example, we are given a job. We have to report to either line manager. Wherever we go, we have to work under some boss, and they have allocated some task to us to execute. Though sometimes we may imply some of the good ideas, and the bosses may appreciate it. But first thing is we need to make sure what boss has said to do it. Then if we do it, even though results are not right, then we are out of the scope. We simply executed based on the boss. That's all. We know that it is not right. If we see some Hanuman story and Sugriva story. So Hanuman knows the solution, but Sugriva doesn't ask Hanuman to give the solution. But until at the end, whenever Sugriva was chased by Vali in number of places, he got tired, and finally once he comes to that place where Sugriva cannot enter, and then finally Hanuman says to Sugriva when my dear Guru, so I know these things, but you did not ask me. I thought you are my boss, so I should not give unnecessary instructions to you. You know how to protect yourself. Likewise, there is a beautiful pastime again. It comes as part of Ramayana. So one has to stick to his duty. It doesn't matter whether it is good or bad. Whatever is given, simply execute it. On top of that, whenever the boss asks more ideas, then we may share it.
Maybe that's why I have so many problems with my boss.
We should not use our personal brain, even though we are very intelligent. We should not use our personal brain to impress someone or do go beyond out of our duties. That is where all things will fall down, and things we ruin our activities by ourselves. Just simply execute what is required. Only simply talk what is needed. That's all. Not beyond the limits, not beyond out of our duty. We do not have to impress anyone. We do not have to speak more as well and do more as well. Then everything will come perfect.
Okay, so that's a really interesting question because sometimes I'm sure Mumpy Mataji, if she's still there, she will probably have this kind of question as well. I don't know, maybe. But sometimes someone tells you to do something. It's not that you know better than them. It's not. It's just that you have a different way of. Everybody's an individual. They're gonna have one person's gonna do something one way, one person's gonna do it another way, depending on their personality, their ability, their status, their position, their influence, etc. They're gonna do something in a different way. No one person can completely blindly follow another person because no two people are the same. Sorry, I know that's a
Hmm.
but I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, bro. I'm just saying it's so difficult to completely follow someone's instruction when they're
Yes.
telling you, yeah, something that's just nonsense sometimes.
Yeah, when we are not able to follow those instructions, then whether I wanted to be under that boss or not, that we need to decide. But as long as we are taking money under that employment, we simply follow the boss instructions. As simple as we should keep all our ego, our personal interest, our personal intelligence keeping aside, just simply execute the instructions. As simple as that.
But even if the instructions are wrong.
So instructions, yes, even the instructions are wrong, we simply carry out, we try to execute the wrong instructions because we should not touch with sin. That is followed by uh, the assistant. Uh, we are instructions are given by boss because if it is wrong, then he will be caught. Line manager will be caught. Boss will be caught by his manager, his boss.
Okay, Prabhu. I wish I had this brain. I wish I had this intelligence. I don't know. Mumpi Mataji, Usha Mataji, would you like to share something?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Mataji, I'm on the same boat. I really lack this intelligence sometimes. I don't know, maybe I'm not on that level of tolerance yet. Sometimes it really gets me when you know that the instruction or whatever you have been asked with my experience or with my insight, when you know that it's not going to go the right way, it's really difficult to carry out sometimes, and this is where I think I would fall out.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mataji, maybe I'm short tempered, or I don't know. I'm not on that level of tolerance yet. I do try. I do try. Even I know that Prabhu and myself, we had this conversation before, and since then I have been trying. I don't know when I will be, I will excel at this, but I'm nowhere near, that level of tolerance yet.
Yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just like it's really hard. It's so difficult, but yeah, that's what's needed, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, Amol Prabhu gives me all these insights, and I tried to follow them, and I think, okay, he's saying this, he understands my situation. I get him. I understand it when he says it, but then when you're in that situation, it's like, wow, like, how easily things can just get misinterpreted and
Correct.
And so for the Krishna in the mentions, like first of all, calm down, not speak more, and also in order to not speak more, and also the foods, whatever we are eating, that is very important. We do not buy from the outside or restaurants, fast foods. Those things are very, very important. Katu, Tikshna, Ushna, Roksha, Vidahina. So such kind of dry foods, uh, and also very sharp tastes, spicy foods, bitter, salty, such kind of things we should not eat. Outside we should not eat. We have to prepare and eat as much as possible in the home of it, the Lord, as much as possible, and then consume it uh, in a mild foods. Like we take prasadam in the temples, the similar kind of foods that would keep our mind calm down and also keep ourselves very maunam. Maunam atma vinigraha. So these things that would help us, and also if even the opposite people are speaking more, we simply hear instead of we speak. Then, if we are trying to speak and exhibit our enthusiasm and anxiety to speak, then immediately that tolerance will be reduced. But if we simply, even though we don't like it, but simply we are hearing, okay, this is my time, I should not speak more, only speak only when I am asked or whenever it is the time. then things will be tolerated, and gradually we are able to sustain those activities in the real time as well, in the offices, wherever in the outside world.
Mm. Please bless us, Prabhu, that we can.
Our
we
blessings,
can
Prabhupada's blessings, Vaishnava's blessings, everyone's blessings are there. We simply agree to follow the instruction. Whether I agree or not, that matters.
I know, but sometimes with the speaking, it's like, oh God, like sometimes people take it to such extremes and they become personal and it's so difficult. Like you'll get like I think what we're battling every day. I think what Prabhu said and his speech, like we're in a battle. As soon as we walk into work, and work shouldn't really feel like a battle. I mean, it should be there to support, especially if you're working in certain, you know, in certain situations. You're kind of all working towards the same goal. Um, and 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 sometimes I do also think, I don't know if this is quite right, but everybody has their own different way of doing things. As long as the goal, as long as the purpose has been met, as long as the goal has been achieved, everyone's going to do things differently because everybody is different and they're going to see they have different skills, they have different attributes, they have different, so everyone has a different vision. Everyone's going to see it from a different perspective, which is it's all good if you can use all those things to kind of share. And there's so much learning happens from just sharing. And you can see different, you know, Srila Prabhupada is said that all his texts should be scrutinizingly read because everybody's going to have a different angle on them. Even if we read one of these verses and, you know, we all say, you know, obviously we see this with the children so much, but if we just say, okay, what does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? Every single person will say something different based on their lens, their experiences, their understanding. And Krishna's telling different people, you know, our understanding, like exactly like both Krishna and both Arjuna and Duryodhan, they were, you know, even Duryodhan saw Krishna as Vishwarup. And even, you know, they say that everybody heard this Gita, but it was Arjuna that could understand it. Everybody's going to see it from a different perspective. Duryodhan's role was different. Actually, one senior Mataji was saying to me that Duryodhan must be such a big devotee because, you know, he's come and he's fighting all this, you know, on this battlefield, etc. And, you know, his name comes, everybody knows who Duryodhan is, but nobody knows who, like, you know, any other, you know, because they're put in those positions. Obviously, in Lord's Leela, they're put in those positions. So obviously, before Lord comes down, he says, okay, Duryodhan, you're going to play this role. Or, you know, Bhishma Dev, you're going to play this role. Arjuna, you're going to play this role. And it is Leela that's orchestrated by the Lord to show us. But even in that, we can see that everybody has a different, Krishna's giving something different to each person. I don't know if that makes sense. Um,
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, so there are many things to discuss on this. Every angle, every one statement. If we read Mahabharata, this is Sarvartha Paribrahmitam. It contains all kinds of dharmas in it. But try to understand each and every angle, then we know we would able to match our character with one of it and one of the activities as well. And whatever he has said, it is true. And also Duryodhana's character. For example, even though he was to fall down from his position, for example, what is the main thing? The Kuru assembly, that thing, when they have insulted Draupadi. During the time, Duryodhana did not have to, disrobe even Draupadi. That he did not have ideas at all to disrobe Draupadi. But Karna, he has encouraged, he has given the idea to do that. Even the Karna is a powerful warrior, but even though he was a great charitably disposable, but he was raised under a Sudra. Though his birth is born to Kunti Devi and the sun god, but he was raised like that. And then because of the association
Hmm. Hmm.
and the circumstances where he has grown and the enmity towards Arjuna, and he went to the Dronacharya to learn the lessons. It was the not appropriate time for him to go. They were calling for only the princess. Unnecessarily, he interfered with few statements, something like that. And later on, by looking at his prowess and inappropriate times, and Duryodhana also accepted him as his friend. But
Hmm.
since that time, Duryodhana was going in a bit wrong directions. So there are many things just to discuss on those points, but due to that time, we are already 46
Yeah.
past 9.
Yeah, I mean, Karna's story, like, yeah, we're gonna Karna's story is so I mean, it's yeah, like how. But one thing Krishna did say to Karna, because Karna was like, I think in the battle, he was like, why did I go through all this? And obviously, Krishna was trying, why did I, am I not worthy? Am I not? And Krishna says to him that we are having to kill you by kind of deceit when your wheel comes off.
Yeah,
And Arjuna's gonna hit and Arjuna's not going to hit him. He puts his bow down, um Krishna says no, kill him, because he's done all these bad things, and so what.
yeah,
um and and even Krishna says to Karna as well, like, we had to kill you in this way. So it actually goes to show that you are a good warrior, but he just took the wrong steps at every time. He was given so much choice, even he just didn't choose the right side, isn't it? Like, he just chose to stand with Duryodhana and that arrogance and that behavior. But he had a chance. I mean, I think Krishna did tell him that he was Kunti Maharani's son, but he just, as far as I can remember, I don't know this, I can't remember the story of Karan so much, but he had the choice to, Krishna said to him, why don't you will become the king of, you are elder to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj will give you the crown. Um, and but he still just chose to serve under Duryodhan because he felt indebted to him. I mean, some people actually glorify Karan, um, and even Arjuna. I think, I don't know where I know this from, but um, actually Karna's son Arjun, Karan asked Arjuna to train his son as well after, on when he was done. I don't know where I know that from. I don't even know if it's true, actually. um but yeah, these are such big characters and big stories, and we have this, so we can learn something from each character, really. Like from Karan, we can learn that we should pick the right side, and how, like exactly what you said, how wrong association from Duryodhan and Karna's side, how their wrong association took them to their kind of, if your association is good, it will lead you in the good path. And if your association is bad, it's going to, everybody's going to have good qualities and bad qualities in them. And if your association is bad, then the negative of you and the negative of that person is going to multiply. But if your association is positive, then the positive you have and then the other has is also going to take you down that path. So yeah, again, association, this importance of association is so important. And it's so easy to get caught up in the, especially in like work and stuff,
because you have to, you have to talk to everyone, you have to be friendly. It's so important that we choose the right association. That's so important. Thank you. Who wants to do Nrsimha Dev prayers?
Mataji will do it.
Yeah, thank you. It was meant to be Prabhavati Mataji, but I think she's left us.
It's gone long.
She's long gone, yeah.
Yeah.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladaladaine.
Praladaladaine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shrilankankalaye.
Shrilankankalaye.
Ito Nrsimho Parato Nrsimho.
Ito Nrsimho Parato Nrsimho.
Yato yato yami tato Nrsimho.
Yato yato yami tato Nrsimho.
Pahi Nrsimho itaye Nrsimho.
Bahir Nrsimho Rithaye Nrsimho.
Nrsimhamadin Sharanam Prapade.
Nrsimhamadin Sharanam Prapade.
Tapakara Kamala Vare Naga Aputa Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Tabu karo kamal bhare nakam abhuta singam dalita hiranyakashipu tanubindam keshavadrita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev.
Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev.
Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj.
Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj.
Jayo Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada.
Jayo Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada.
Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo.
Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol.
Jai Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki
Jai.
Jai.
Bhakti Prahlad Maharaj ki
Jai.
Oh, Sri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Glorious to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Very good, very nice.
Hari Bol.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful. Drone, it was so amazing. I mean, today you are having such a brilliant day, and they in Krishna Club today they started reciting Krishna book, and I can't, obviously I would say this because I love them so much, but they actually did so much. The maturity that they read it with, it was amazing. Did you find that, Drone? It's very difficult to some of the words, and we only got into the first paragraph of the first chapter, but the way they read was astonishing. And Srila Prabhupada's words, obviously in the Krishna book, it was so amazing. I mean, it was so pure, like I can't explain it. Didn't you? I don't know, Dawn, did you find that? It's hard, but
a little bit.
Thank you.
yeah, it was hard, isn't it? Yeah, it was hard, but they did so well. I mean, it was just showed a lot of maturity actually today. It's brilliant.
Haribo. Thank you. Shall we conclude, Prabhu?
Yes, we
Go
can
through
do.
Krishna Kripa Sindhu
Panchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripa
kripa sindhubhyascha patitanampavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Hare